Education Committee. We are going to go ahead and start this as a subcommittee of one. See, that's the lesson that one person can make a difference in life. And each of you, I'm sure, have made a tremendous difference in your school sites. This is a very exciting hearing for the Senate Education Committee. The annual presentation of the views, perspectives, the opinions and recommendations of students in the state of California. So we look forward to hearing your presentations today to the Education Committee to give us your recommendations on what type of legislation and you would like to see passed, what types of reforms and changes you would like to see in the public school system, and the reasons why, and how you would go about achieving those changes in California. So I'd like to thank you for your for being here today. Let me welcome the following student representatives in particular. Ms. Deanna Lee, the president of the California Association of Student Councils, a senior from Mira Loma High School. Diana, are you here? Okay, wonderful. Welcome to the California State Senate. Thank you for your leadership. And also Mr. James Pollock, Director of Education Policy and a senior at Burlingame High School. And James, are you here? Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Let me indicate that today's hearing, as it has been in the past, has been organized by the students themselves. I understand that Diana Lee and James Pollock will be coordinating the student panels, of which there will be a total of 5. I understand that the students yourselves have self-selected who you wish to make the presentation before the Senate Education Committee. I would like to keep the discussions and the presentations flowing, so I encourage the students in your presentations to be aware of the time. And the students, for the record, please introduce yourselves prior to speaking. This informational hearing is being televised. Okay, and so be cognizant of that. You are not only speaking to the members of the committee, but you are also speaking to anybody who's tuning in to listen to this particular Education Committee hearing today. So let's go ahead and let me welcome Senator Curran Price. In fact, Senator Price is the newest addition to the Senate Education Committee. He represents portions of Los Angeles County. Senator Price, would you care to make some opening comments? We've got an auditorium full of students from the state of California.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just that it's very exciting to see the students here. This is a tremendous learning opportunity, and one that I hope you'll find to be a very positive experience for you. I recall being your age and coming to the Capitol for the first time. It made a lasting impression, and I hope that this experience is a positive, lasting impression on you. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. And when Senator Huff returns to the committee, we will go ahead and give him an opportunity to make some comments, as well as the Vice Chair. Having said that, let's go ahead and let's just move it forward. So let me call forth Diana Lee and James Pollock. Please welcome. You may stand at the dais, or you may sit at the table, whichever is your preference. And we look forward to hearing your opening comments on this hearing on the views and viewpoints of students in the state of California. Welcome.
Thank you. So, good afternoon or morning. It is an honor to speak today on behalf of the California Association of Student Councils and to introduce the delegation of the Student Advisory Board of Legislation and Education today and the hard work that they've put in these past 3 days to be here today before you. But before we begin, the organization would like to commend several people that have given us an enormous amount of help in this program. The Student Advisory Board on Legislation and Education commends the Senate Education Committee for allocating a significant portion of your agenda to dialogue with students today and every year since the inception of the SABLE program. We'd also like to commend Senator Gloria Romero for her career-long commitment to youth development, for your personal support of the California Association of Student Councils, and for the example you have set as a leader in the California legislature. And lastly, we'd also like to commend Danny Alvarez, the consultant for the Senate Education Committee, for your enthusiasm, guidance, and initiative in expanding the impact of the SABLE program this year.
Well, thank you very much.
And I guess just to everyone here, the organization and the delegation, thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our opinions and our experiences within the education system. And it's my pleasure now to pass this on to James Pollock, the director of the conference today, and to speak more about the program and the proposals that we have coming up.
Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you once again for hearing us today. The Student Advisory Board on Legislation and Education would like to thank all of you. I'd like to extend a welcome to our valued audience, and we appreciate you all for the support that you give. For the last 3 days, my 10 other valued staff and I have been facilitating the process of creating these comprehensive reform proposals you now have in front of you. We have before you a diverse group representative of California. It's 32 delegates, however, they represent far more. Yesterday, we went to the Capitol, and the delegates were empowered by meeting their representatives and saw the value of informed constituency in a representative democracy. When we began this process of creating these proposals, I informed them that when speaking to you, they would not only be representative of themselves, but of 6.3 million students in the education system. It is important to understand that as senators of this committee, we are all constituents of your districts, all 6.3 million of us, and you represent a diverse group, and so are we. We range in interests, religions, ethnicities, languages, socioeconomic standing, grade point average, location, surroundings, and ideologies. And in this process of creating proposals, we emphasized the value of consensus. We realized a new value of the word. That is not in fact that you have reached a commonality, but the fact that you can support the existence of another perspective and move beyond petty differences. This value of the diversity of our experiences creates strong reason, strong ideas, and bridges the normal boundaries of development. A major concern of the delegation this year has been the budget and its inevitable impact on education. We are a generation of coping with consistent cuts, and now we see that as the norm. However, I do not see this new challenge as a negative situation. Rather, this is a challenge to be the best that we can be. This is a time where new ideas are being discussed which have never been before, and this is truly an opportunity. An opportunity to reform, an opportunity to reflect, and an opportunity to re-emphasize the core American value of education. Before you today, we have four topics with proposals in them, as well as student commentary on these on other issues as well. First of all, you'll be hearing from a group of students who will have a commentary on the federal Race to the Top program and its impact on students from the student perspective. Second, we will have the student safety group. However, it has been changed through that process. The group itself got an interest in drug and alcohol abuse in school. So this will be the new shift in that proposal. Third is the Achievement Gap group looked at the Achievement Gap and actually found that a much more helpful way of approaching that issue would be the monitoring and support of student progress. So that will be the third presentation. And fourth will be student health. I thank you once again, and I call up the first group, which will be the federal Race to the Top.
And James, let me just first of all commend you on a very eloquent introduction. You used a phrase that really struck me, and probably all members of the committee, when you spoke about that you are a generation of coping. And then you went on to say coping with cuts. That is a profound message that you deliver today in the state capitol. And I look forward to working with you and with all other legislators in the building to understand the importance of investing in public education and what these cuts mean. So I just want to indicate to you that it was a very powerful phrase that you chose to state and a very powerful message that has been delivered. Before the first panel arrives, one of our other very esteemed colleagues has arrived. She has taken on the very difficult work now of being the chair of the Budget Subcommittee on Education. So she is working hard to be a valiant champion for public education, trying to grapple with the economic crisis, but understanding a generation of students who are coping. Let me introduce a very esteemed member of the Education Committee, Senator Carol Liu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. I'm sorry I was a little late. I look forward to your presentations. It's so nice to hear refreshing, young perspective on what is going on in this state, and we really welcome your energy and your academic thought and your intelligence and your good wishes that we all are successful together. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're ready for the first panel.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the table. Go ahead and choose a chair and make sure that when you speak, that red button is on. All right?
Hi, my name is Mitchell Harry, and I'm a junior at Elk Grove High School in Elk Grove.
Hi, my name is Catherine Nassar. I'm a freshman at Half Moon Bay High School in Half Moon Bay.
I'm Jonathan Wajacha from Redlands East Valley High School in Redlands.
I'm Caitlin Johnston. I'm a junior at Diamond Mountain Charter High School in Susanville.
I'm Nikita Mitchell. I'm a junior at East Oakland School of the Arts in Oakland.
I'm Molly Valaschini. I'm a senior at Lassen High School in Susanville.
I'm Sagar Ladd from Torrance High School in Torrance.
I'm Alex Fish. I'm a senior at Coronado High School in Coronado.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Now, we are all here today because we are very passionate about our education. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that we're very excited to be given this opportunity to voice our opinion about our education. And for the past 2 days, we have been discussing the 6 criteria within the Race to the Top program. And my fellow delegates here are going to explain to you our feedback on the 6 criteria.
Good morning. I will be speaking about the standards and assessments criteria within the Race to the Top program. Although we do support these criteria, we do have some concerns. One of our main concerns regarding this criteria is the lack of student involvement throughout the system. Race to the Top states that it's working towards international standards to achieve in grades K through 12, specifically for preparation of high school graduation and the careers and college careers that follow. But developing new standards with the input and opinions of students is crucial because it contributes to the students' willingness to try, which in turn reflects upon the progress of the state. If I know that another student from any part of the state took part in the decision making surrounding a test, then I'm going to be more comfortable with trusting that same test. An example is the STAR test. In all of our schools, students are not currently taking this test seriously. We believe that a reassessment of the STAR test with consideration of students' feedbacks and ideas would better the exam. The results would be that students, including myself, would try harder, leading to higher scores. We need more relevant and updated tests that are achieved with student assistance. The second of our concerns falls under the subjects of standards. Students need more academic options other than the classic A through G requirements. I have seen many of my friends stay behind and drop out of school because they see no reason to stay. They do not understand how a high school diploma can help them live the way they want to. With specialized classes that coincide with A through G requirements, students would want to learn the curriculum. This would help students reach their goals and become successful in their aspirations. In the event that California cannot supply these opportunities, we ask that the Senate Committee of Education keep these recommendations in mind for the future.
In the third criterion of the Race to the Top, the Student Advisory Board supports implementing a data system, a statewide data system containing student grade reports. We decided as a group a data system will be very important and convenient for all students. It will help transfer students from school to other schools, and there's a possibility of even extending the data system from high schools to California colleges or universities. This will lower costs for the college application process and make it easier for many students. Overall, a data system will be of great value to students, parents, teachers, and administration across the state of California.
I'm going to be going over the Great Teachers and Leaders area of Race to the Top and our proposal. We agree with the main points in this proposal. However, we would like to see students brought into the process and worked with through it. We think that student feedback would be very valuable because it provides a unique perspective, as well as promoting a feeling of we're doing this with you, not to you. We would like student-to-teacher feedback as detailed in CASC 2020 to be included in this process. And to get our trainers and leaders, to get training for our leaders, we would like to encourage the students working together with them, because I had a training earlier this year in which it was a board meeting that the trainers had been brought to. And the meeting started out with, we had this big table and the board was on one side and then there was the audience in rows on the other. And it was really a feeling of them and us. The first thing the trainers did when they got up was to take that table away and tie us all together with string and tell us how to get out. So it went from the board member over there to the board member who I'm working with to get out of this string and to get into a harmonious circle with. And it really was very symbolic of the process. We are not us and them. We are all together working towards the same goal. We want leaders that are enthused, creative, and team-oriented, but we feel that can only be done with student involvement and feedback.
One moment. Let me just interject at this moment, and also fellow members of the committee, if you have a question or a comment. Let me just, first of all, say that I agree with you in terms of the important role of a student voice. And in fact, last year, right around this time, when the recommendations came forth with another cohort of students just like you, with dreams and ideas about education change in California, I asked the association, give me one proposal that you would want for us to introduce as legislation and move it through the legislature. And so you went back and deliberated, and then the one proposal that you came up with was student feedback on teachers. You didn't call it evaluation, you called it feedback. I introduced the bill. I must tell you, there was a line of opposition outside of this room. Now, we did move it out of the Senate Education Committee, but it died soon after that. Those are the many challenges, but I want to commend you because you were an antecedent to the conversation and the national dialogue about having fair, transparent evaluations, feedback. Teachers are the heroes in our classroom. None of us believe that one test should be the reason why a teacher moves forward or is held back. But I believe in valuable, constructive feedback. And so when you commented about the student evaluations as being a part of the process, I absolutely agree with you. This Senate Education Committee agreed with you. We did our job, we moved it forward, but there's more work that has to be done. So I urge you to continue working on this to provide a strong student voice in the process. And let me just indicate, Senator Curran Price was the student body president. Senator Price, which high school? Morningside.
School in Inglewood, California.
So talk about being a powerful student, and he's sitting now today as a powerful senator on the Education Committee. I was the Associated Student Body Secretary at Barstow High School in my community. Senator Liu, student government?
Student government in junior high. Secretary of the whatever student body in junior high.
So see, again, too, I mean, and you better believe it, the three of us gave lots of feedback, so that's exactly what you're doing. All right, so I just wanted to interject because we did introduce the student proposal. It didn't move forward, but this issue became a basis and a conversation for the general discussion in Race to the Top, and I urge you to continue fighting for the student voice in every aspect of education. All right, let's go on.
So thank you for that. So, as it implies in Race to the Top, under the Turning Around School criteria, for lower achieving schools, intervention is necessary. However, the way in which school success is evaluated through only assessment that do not fully encompasses the conditions that affect the achievement rate of students in tests. In return, our schools are being penalized for them missing the mark without giving the appropriate resources to further assist schools, including time for improvement. Standardized assessments neglects to fully embrace and assess students and their conditions as a whole. This does not discredit or suggest termination of assessments. However, in my district, I have witnessed the infliction of pain from being loaded with the baggage of discrimination, violence, and being immersed in poverty. And schools limited in the almighty dollar desperately stretches beyond the attack of the threat of closure, but supports students who are mostly impacted by these chaotic conditions. However, schools classify only by their test scores, not on their effect on supporting students. They, through Race to the Top, are in danger of being charterized, privatized, closed, or restructured. So in the process of identifying schools to go through this process, we believe the state should not prematurely restructure schools, but take into account the underlying conditions that impact students' performance, and in return support schools who are effective in supporting students to further grow in academic rigor. Thank you.
Good morning. I would like to talk to you about the general selection criteria of the Race to the Top and how the Student Advisory Board feels about that. My high school in northern rural California has lost hundreds of students who are looking for a less rigorous curriculum to the many charter schools in our area. Not only is this detrimental to our funding, it causes teachers to need to lower their curriculum standards in order to prevent students from leaving our school. This changes the emphasis from educating students to pumping out diplomas. We as students believe that we need to hold ourselves to higher educational standards and value the opportunities we have been given. Education is crucial and it affects all of our lives. We fully agree with and support the idea of making it easier to start up new charter schools, but we want to ensure that those schools are being monitored and are not just becoming an easy way to get a diploma. We believe that there needs to be a clear distinction between a high-performing and low-performing charter school to ensure quality schools for everyone.
With all these things in mind, the criteria of the state success factors include reforming education in participating schools, building a strong statewide capacity, and improving achievement gaps. As you can see, we, as students, support the Race to the Top program with minor stipulations. These adjustments are more cost-effective and will have a greater impact for schools across the nation, or the state. In the situation where California does not receive any incentives from the Race to the Top program, a reverse bill should automatically go into effect. This reverse bill will revoke all changes and plans made to comply with Race to the Top and anything that will cause the state to go into further debt. This allows a safety net for the education of students in California, and without the choice of the reverse bill, California will be in jeopardy for further funding of California education, since we will be forced to use our current budget to fund a more expensive Race to the Top program. If funding for the Race to the Top program changes, the California education budget will go into further debt. The reverse bill ensures further funding for education, and ultimately, we believe the reverse bill is an essential component for California participation in the Race to the Top.
In conclusion, we as representatives of California school students feel that the aforementioned recommendations are the strongest course of action for adapting the Race to the Top program's criteria to the California education system. Again, we strongly urge the California State Legislature to consider the following items when considering how to best implement the criteria to the education system. 1, increase student involvement in education of teachers in student assessments. And 2, revise student assessment methods. We feel that these suggestions are beneficial to students because they will increase individual student motivation as well as make students feel heard by their state representatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the committee members?
Right. Oh, very good.
Excellent. Let me ask one question. And of course, we had quite a bit of a debate on Race to the Top, and I was, as chair of Senate Education, very much involved in the Race to the Top and became lead author on one of the bills that we ultimately did pass to the governor. As students on your campuses, as this discussion was taking place, were you involved? Were you speaking with your fellow students, your teachers, your superintendents, board members, your parents? I'm just curious as to the discussion that was taking place on your own campuses. What was it like? There was a lot of discussion up here, but I'm curious what it was like in your districts.
So we actually have 2 student board members from our district, which is Oakland. And to say that this Race to the Top was not told to them, even though they were on the Board of Education. It was not told. It was not elaborated on. When we got to this CAS or SABLE event, this was the first time we have ever heard of Race to the Top. So it was not, it did not have no youth engagement whatsoever, as far as my district.
Okay, what about others? Just general sentiments?
I didn't know about it until I came to SABLE either.
I'm on the school site council for my high school, and I also was not informed about Race to the Top until this conference.
So it seems that maybe one strong recommendation might be that, beginning from even the local level, to really engage and to bring students into the process and disseminate, not disseminate information, but have the dialogue. Senator Liu, you had a comment?
No, I agree. It's a conversation that we've been having better part of this year, and for you not to even know that it existed is astonishing, because I know your school board members and your administration certainly know about this issue. So we need to have a better communication network here.
Right. Okay. And then, all right, well, let me thank you very much for your perspectives. I know there's much more that we could discuss, but there are 3 other panels. So thank you all very much, and we will proceed then with the second panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause to these panelists. James, welcome back.
Thank you. I'd just like to apologize. I got very excited about the student presentations, and I actually introduced them in the incorrect order. Next, we'll be hearing from the student health group.
All right, let's start with student health next. Student health panelists, please step forward. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me first apologize for my voice. I'm currently going through puberty.
I don't know that we've ever had a witness in the California State Senate that has opened up with that, but it is so refreshing to hear that. And sometimes I think there might be accusations of existing senators here that we are regressing to puberty. So, point well taken. Welcome. And it's a lovely voice.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Thomas Flaherty, and I'm a senior at Paloma Valley High School in Menifee.
My name is Zachary Lanfear. I'm a senior at Archway Academy in Modesto, California.
Good morning. I'm Lauren Barrera, and I'm currently a senior at Liberty High School down in Bakersfield.
Hi, I'm Allie Wazalowski, and I'm a junior at Miracosta High School in Manhattan Beach, California.
Good morning. I'm Crystal Carpenter, and I'm currently an 8th grader at Hayfork Elementary School in Hayfork, California.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Walker, and I go to Golden Sierra High School in Garden Valley.
Good morning. My name is Darren Shee. I'm a senior at the Harker School in San Jose.
Hello, I'm Elisa Lee. I go to Modesto High School in Modesto, California.
Okay, welcome.
So as you know, stakeholders in this education system, from the student to the senator, is facing tremendous obstacles. we are subject to issues such as dropout rates, achievement gaps, and even more so today, the budget. And these are concerns that have been made top priorities by lawmakers and schools alike. But even though we students agree with this, we also feel that the current state of health of California's young constituents is also detrimental to education and should also be made a priority. Our concerns about student health in the past have involved influence of the media, bathroom standards and cleanliness, health and food options, and drug and alcohol. Now, though, after amassing together all of our thoughts and all of our emotions and experiences throughout our school experiences, we believe that today's health concerns are 1, health class standardization, 2, allergens, and 3, the current state of school nursing. Thank you, and here's Zach and Lauren with health class standardization.
As a sophomore at McNair High School, I received my required health credits through a convenient driver's ed health combination class. And while I now excel at parallel parking, I unfortunately do not understand the dangers of drug abuse. Yet, I will still be graduating in the spring, despite not having received any information on proper health education. My story is being repeated all across California. I mean, instances change. Some people may opt out through summer school courses, and others through independent study course, but the facts remain the same, that there are severe inconsistencies in between the methods at which students can receive their health credits.
To address these inconsistencies, we must first portray this problem from the student perspective. The problem that arises from having so many different methods of fulfilling the graduation requirement in health is that while some classes are absolutely fantastic, so many more are absolutely not. My friend Zach here did receive those credits without even a whisper about health curriculum. I personally received my health credits from a summer school class in which the only person that wanted to be there less than I did was my teacher. How am I supposed to learn to care about something that my teacher clearly thought was a waste of time? The painful truth is that the importance of health education as a preventative measure to foster the safety of students is greatly diminished because this class, in its variable forms, is not being taken seriously.
Thus, we move to our recommended action. We as students recommend that the Senate Committee on Education create an oversight committee to examine the effectiveness of the varying methods in which students can receive their required health credits. We recommend this in the hopes that the state can identify and assess the varying issues that we see as students. The importance of a proper health education is something that shouldn't be taken for granted and shouldn't be minimized to a filler course.
And because, as Zach said, proper knowledge of health curriculum is too important to students to allow health education to be disregarded as a filler class, we must oversee the effectiveness of the different methods by which students receive health credits, only to ensure that our students can lead healthy and happy lives. I'm now going to pass it on to Allie and Crystal, who will be discussing the issue in the lack of posting of allergen foods in cafeterias.
A gluten-intolerant student experiences intense headaches, fatigue, and possible skin rashes when they eat foods containing gluten, which is found in wheat. But gluten can be hidden in various unpackaged food products, such as salad dressings at your local salad bar at your school. Say the student had a salad dressing that has anchovy paste in it, which has hidden gluten. The student would soon experience intense headaches and feel massive fatigue and would not be able to concentrate in their classes after lunch. The other option for the student is to skip lunch entirely because they don't know what is in their food, so they are fearing allergic reactions, so they're just going to skip their meal and be focusing on their hunger and not have the energy to concentrate on their later classes. If this allergen information was posted for unpackaged food products, the student would be helped immensely. I am this gluten-intolerant student, but it could be many other students across California.
Many students are not informed about the allergens in unpackaged food products. This is a problem because students are unaware of potential ingredients that may be harmful. We realize that all packaged food products have ingredient lists that provide this information to students. The ingredient and allergen information for unpackaged food products is not always available for students in all schools across the state. As a result, students are vulnerable to unexpected allergic reactions. Posting allergen information in the form of labels or menus in schools for all students to see would be helpful because it not only shows the students what foods they can and cannot eat, but informs all students of what they are eating. The Student Advisory Board recommends that schools are required to post allergen information about unpackaged food products. This change would promote consumption of school-provided food products so students are no longer skipping meals and feel safe eating the school food. Now, Darren and Sarah are going to talk about the third issue, having full-time school nurses.
Today, there's a lack of certified nursing staff in schools, and it's affecting the well-being of students. First and foremost, we observe that students aren't able to receive the necessary medical attention upon request. Unfortunately, school nurses are spread throughout districts and therefore must take varying shifts at each school, consequently leaving schools without certified nurses during most school hours. The importance of a nurse on campus is especially critical in emergency situations.
Without licensed nurses, schools must wait for emergency responders before any treatment can be administered to prevent serious injury or sickness. And actually, one of the fellow presenters here today had a significant incident in which this was the case. Lauren?
Yes, as Darren mentioned, I have had an experience where having a full-time nurse on staff would have been crucial. One day during school, during our passing period, one of the students fell to the ground and was having a seizure. Immediately, the student body reacted in a state of panic as no one understood the proper procedures in aiding the student and what needed to be taken care of. However, I do believe that if we were able to have a full-time nurse on our school campus, he or she would have alleviated not only the state of panic from the student body, but would have handled the situation in a professional manner.
Having staff that is not specifically certified can lead to a loss of class time and attention on academics. Although teachers are trained in emergency healthcare to administer this medical attention, they are distracted from the teaching process, and this affects all other students in the classroom. For example, in my junior year, we were required to give a presentation in my biology class. However, due to anxiety and stress, one of the students began to hyperventilate and collapse to the ground. Luckily, we had a nurse at our school, and so the teacher immediately called her up, and she was sent to the classroom. And then after assessing the situation, the nurse continued to call 911, and an ambulance was quickly sent to our school. So this is a positive example of having a nurse on campus.
There's also a possible liability issue when there are no certified medical staff to attend emergency situations, especially with students who have special medical needs. Teachers, though trained, cannot administer prescriptions if needed. Therefore, we recommend that this committee require licensed registered nurses to be available during school hours at all schools. Thank you.
To summarize, we're asking that schools on a statewide level implement 1, standardized health education classes, 2, allergen food labeling, and 3, full-time registered nurses. As delegates of the Student Advisory Board on Legislation and Education, as well as real students in real schools, we believe that such changes will allow students to have their health needs met and to gain valuable knowledge regarding their health. We desire that the state puts not only health as a priority, but also the consistency and enforcement of health legislation throughout the state. And through our proposals, we hope to promote a healthy living for the future of California. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent presentation. Questions or comments? Senator Price?
No, I was very impressed with the detail and the personal experiences that were reflected in the testimony, and that was very, very effective. Thank you.
Senator Liu? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I serve on the Health Committee. Senator Liu, are you on Health also, Senator Price? I'm the newest member to the Health Committee, so these are also issues that will carry over into that committee. I think you have focused again too on what's happening in the classroom, looking at standards and instruction. Also, I think too, lifestyle. I mean, not only what we eat, exercise. It's this week as we speak, the First Lady of the nation is also doing a major campaign focusing on obesity in youth. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts as we go forward, also on looking at how we can further encourage healthy lifestyles, including just getting up and moving also, as far as how we can encourage an understanding of health and its relationship to the overall well-being of students. All right, thank you very much for your presentation, and we'll get ready for the third panel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Round of applause for this panel. James, welcome back.
Thank you. And now we'll be hearing from the Drug and Alcohol Abuse Group.
Okay, Drug and Alcohol Abuse Group. Let's come on up. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Natalie Russell, and I'm a junior from La Jolla High School in San Diego.
Hi, I'm Amanda Lyon, and I'm a junior from Southwest High School in El Centro.
Hello, I'm Brianna Theodore, and I'm a senior at Big Valley Christian High School in Modesto.
Hello, my name is Ashish Nag, and I'm a sophomore at Mariloma High School in Sacramento.
Good morning. My name is David Tang Kwan, and I'm a junior at Palos Verdes Peninsula High School in Los Angeles.
Hi, my name is Tori Leader. I'm a sophomore at Lowell High School, which is in San Francisco.
Good morning. My name is Wesley Sims. I am a senior at East Oakland School of the Arts.
Hi, my name is Selena Lee. I am a junior at Mariloma High School here in Sacramento.
Welcome.
My group and I are focusing on drug and alcohol abuse. We represent a wide diversity of students from across the state, all passionate to see reform in the education system that will benefit all of the students. This proposal outlines the problems and struggles that students face each day on their campuses.
The Student Advisory Board on Legislation and Education recommends that the legislature mandate standard punishments for standard criteria of the use or possession of drugs and alcohol on campus. This will be done in a tiered system with increasing consequences. Also, to create a network of experienced adult volunteer mentors to be assigned to students once they reach a certain level in the punishment structure.
From personal observation, we've noticed that this punishment structure consists of students being disciplined by receiving receiving detention, suspension, and expulsion, but there seems to be little to no change in the students' behavior. We've deduced that the current method of punishment is relatively ineffective. From this, we conclude that the punishments for using drugs and alcohol on campus vary from school to school and are often poorly enforced.
I have witnessed so many drug-related problems at my school. Many of the students at my high school and at high schools throughout California have been exposed to anti-substance use programs, but still continue to use drugs and alcohol on a regular basis. We as a group decided that a main flaw with these programs is that these programs are too preventative rather than intervention-based.
So the solution that we propose consists of two interconnected parts. And we, as representatives of the 6.3 million students of California, desire to have a set of consequences standardized statewide to deal with the inconsistencies of the current time. Now, what this may involve is that we develop a plan of action in order to have a list of consequences for when students are caught using alcohol or drugs on campus. And so we are asking that the Senate Committee on Education, in possible collaboration with the State Board of Education, develop this comprehensive list of consequences. And using that, we can develop a system for dealing with these offenses. However, we do realize that the main priority is to be helping students and working with them, and that's why we have also proposed a partner program meant for mentoring students to also be established by the Senate Committee on Education.
This program will be implemented statewide to all school districts. By attaching it to the tiered consequence system, as stated by David, this program can be recommended to students who have committed drug or alcohol offenses. We hope to see this program exist at all schools, but especially desire it to be utilized by the consequence system. At first, it can be optional, but later become mandatory, as determined by the severity of the offense and the reoccurrence. We believe, from personal experiences in volunteering organizations, that mentoring programs do not represent a significant cost. By employing volunteers, the program will require basic training as its only expenditure. In fact, we hope this program will reduce necessary discipline action, like suspension, and thereby saving ADA funding.
I was once the problem kid that we are trying to help. It wasn't the fact that I was misbehaved or fond of disrespecting the school policy. I just had a problem. But a problem is only a problem, which means it is no longer a permanent issue, because with every problem comes a solution. Through all the difficulties I gave my school, only one solution worked. A mentor. This mentor volunteered his service, his care, his respect, his love, his passion, his desire to help me succeed and to adequately prepare me for the world. But the difference between us was I was still a victim of my issues, and he had overcame his, because he realized that the reason I was under the influence, he could understand because he had similar issues. The best way to help these students is by giving them a consequence that will positively change their whole aspect of life. Most of these students have grown up under a negative influence. That's why they do the things that they do. But when you bring a positive influence in their life that had similar issues and who has overcame their issues, they will be able to teach their succeeding methods so that they will learn their succeeding methods and be able to teach someone else their succeeding methods. This is why they're crying out for help. That's why they use drugs, to escape the depression, obviously. Don't isolate them. Don't ignore them. Find out why they are depressed. If you do this, it'll stop future junkies, inmates, dead corpse, and turn them into lawyers, doctors, nurses, senators, presidents, and like I, student director of their board of education. Help these students by giving them a mentor. But I am not the only one who experienced this. We all have been affected in some other way.
I had a friend who went to rehab because of drug abuse.
Every week, I drive my drunk friends home.
2 of my best friends had to attend Alcoholics Anonymous meetings at the age of 14.
One of my friends was severely injured by a drunk driver.
Every week, I receive crisis calls from struggling friends.
Many of my fellow students will show up drunk or high to school events and class.
One of my friends is addicted to marijuana and has recently escalated to using ecstasy and cocaine. And finally, if any of you in the delegation have been impacted by this, could you please raise your hands? Thank you.
Let the record show that the vast majority, almost all of the students, have raised their hands as far as the impact on their lives.
So tying all of our experiences together, we as students have witnessed drug and alcohol abuse as a threat to school safety. Key problems with the current system of countering this include inconsistent and poorly enforced standards of repercussions, as well as a lack of intervention programs for students involved in substance abuse. We have presented to you a proposal for strict statewide standards coupled with a mentoring program in order to remedy these root problems. To increase success in deterring drug and alcohol abuse, we encourage these standards not as a form of harsh punishment, but as a resource for these students to get back on their feet. It is our hope that with your help, we can make the school environment a safer, cleaner place that facilitates education and morality. We thank you for taking the time to hear our proposal and allowing us to voice our concerns about drug and alcohol abuse.
What a powerful presentation from each and every one of you, and I thank you for stepping forward today. And I keep going back to James's opening line about a generation of coping. and coping with new challenges. Let me go back to the young gentleman, and I've forgotten your first name. I think you said you were at the East Oakland Academy of the Arts, I believe?
East Oakland School of the Arts, Wesley Sims.
Okay, Wesley Sims. You talked about a mentor. Describe to us how, we're very interested in the mentorship program. Describe to us, please, the mentor that you found that found you. What was unique? What was different? Give us those characteristics so that we can begin to think about what kind of mentorship we need to establish.
Okay, so the mentor actually found me. I signed up at school because they was just going around to people who had good grades, but just they can tell had problems. So I signed up for a mentor, because I was ready for a change. And when he came to me, the dude first of all, we had the same beliefs. Like, we had the same problems, the same struggles, grew up in the same neighborhood, and we both rapped. We had things that we like to do with each other. We both like to eat. We both like to play basketball. So he turned, from when I first met him, he was my mentor. The relationship turned into a brotherly relationship because I could tell that he was dedicated to helping me. He would call me. He would make sure he'd take me out to eat. When I wanted to play basketball, he'll try to find basketball camps for me. So it was just like, I was the oldest child in the family, and it seemed like everything that I was missing had just came to me. So those were the characteristics. He was just loving, and he wanted to do it himself. Like, he wasn't being paid to do it. He wasn't forced to do it. Then on top of that, he was financially fit, so he can help me. Like, he had money, and he also had job opportunities because he was a director of the YMCA. So that's just like, it don't matter what you know, it matter who you know. It was an automatic job. So he just brought a lot to the table for me, and it just like, from there, I knew that I was going to be somebody, and now I'm sitting right here.
Senator Price, Senator Liu, any comments? Senator Liu?
It's turning how we deal with this topic on its head, because we're all into punishment and not positive role modeling or mentoring, or what do you call it? I mean, we do this for adults. We're trying to do this, when people are in jail and come out, and we're diverting prisoners into drug rehab programs, et cetera. But this is an early intervention modeling, and we're going to face a lot of challenges trying to get away from, quote, the punishment model. But I agree with you that unless we do rethink what we're doing, we're just going to stack up more folks in our prison system and not help anybody in the meantime. So this may be more cost effective. You were lucky to find somebody that was a good fit. I don't know whether or not, we could attract that many more mentors or models that kids could identify with that Wesley has done, but it certainly is something to consider.
Let me just acknowledge the arrival of our Vice Chair of Senate Education Committee. As I indicated, he was at a committee hearing of Career Technical Education.
Transportation Commission, CTC.
Oh, Transportation Commission, okay. Making sure we have roads built so we can get to school. Senator Bob Huff. Senator Huff, the students have presented quite passionately and articulately on their views on Race to the Top, on health issues affecting students. This particular panel is looking at alcohol and drug abuse. It's been a very powerful panel. Let me turn to you and ask if you'd like to give any, I can't say welcoming comments, but sort of midway comments given your arrival.
Sure. Well, thank you, and thank you all for coming up here and being a part of the process. I know I always find it personally encouraging to see how you're thinking, because we were at once your age, believe it or not, as old as we are. We once were younger and had visions for how things could be done better. So I appreciate your sharing with us, because sometimes we lose touch with what it's like to be on the campus and to have the issues that struggle with. They change, alcohol and drugs are still around. They were there when we were there as well. But your solution and your outlook on things is certainly important as everything you're bringing to us. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Very powerful presentation. Okay. Any other closing comments? All right. Thank you so very much. Round of applause for this panel. James, welcome back.
Thank you. Now we will be hearing from the Monitoring and Support of Student Progress Group.
Next panel. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Adams. I'm finally a senior at Youth Empowerment School in Oakland, California. We just want to take the time to appreciate you for hearing us this morning. We understand that it's very early. But we really appreciate your willingness to hear us and to work with us on these issues. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Patrick Chow. I'm currently a senior at Maryland High School here in Sacramento.
Hi, I'm Loren Rubin, and I'm a senior at Marlboro School in Los Angeles.
Hi, my name's Harley Rice. I am a senior at Valley Charter High School, Modesto, California.
Hi, I'm Janie Lee, and I'm a junior at Troy High School in Fullerton, California.
Hi, my name is Veronica Yates, and I'm currently a senior at Union Mountain High School, which is in El Dorado.
Hi, I'm Kara Simpson. I am a junior at Hemet High School in Hemet, California.
Morning, I'm Christy Wynn, and I'm currently a senior at the California Academy of Math and Science, located in Los Angeles.
Welcome.
So California has over 6.3 million students from very diverse backgrounds. While many of our students perform up to and even beyond standards, there are many who simply fall between the cracks. Current data indicates that the majority of these underperforming students come from low socioeconomic backgrounds and/or are African American or Latino. This has resulted in what is now known as the achievement gap. Based on the experiences and observations of members of this delegation, we are of the opinion that many of these students are not receiving the support they need to reach their full potential. These students often lack support in the form of guidance, and there are a few mechanisms in place to closely monitor their overall academic progress. As a result, these students often become lost in the crowd.
And while we realize that there are many issues that lead to the achievement gap, our group today has identified two key issues which we will be presenting to you today. One being the academic assistance and mentorship programs are inaccessible to many students in California. And not every school offers programs such as these, and some programs that are offered on campuses are simply overwhelmed. And two, there's currently no comprehensive system in place that tracks the academic record of individual students within the state of California. Our vision for the California education system is one where each student is not only accounted for, but has access to all the resources necessary to help them achieve their full potential.
Harley and I will first be addressing the team mentoring issue. Though we know that some schools offer mentoring programs, I have noticed that it is often difficult for some teachers to provide underperforming students with the attention that they need and deserve. At some schools, mentoring programs do not even exist. Because of the enormous and overwhelming amount of students who are left without mentors and guidance, we feel that peer mentoring programs serve as a valuable supplement and can help bolster students who lack the one-on-one attention they may need yet cannot always receive in the classroom. We are proclaiming our wholehearted support of these programs, and we encourage the Senate Committee on Education to offer their support of programs such as these. Peer mentors can help their fellow students with everything from homework to college advice to personal advice. In some instances, students are unaware of basic necessities to achieving goals in their futures, such as signing up for the SAT or meeting college deadlines. This is only compounded by the fact that we have extremely high student-to-guidance counselor ratios. Advocating the implementation of peer mentoring programs will not only alleviate some of the pressure placed on facility that are often spread too thin, but it will also give students the opportunity to hear from someone who can relate to what they are going through more readily.
In my district, LAUSD, I have witnessed the incredible success of a volunteer peer mentoring program. For the past 3 years, I have tutored a student named Drew. Drew grew up in an alcoholic home with parents who barely spoke English. For 3 hours every week, I have tutored Drew in the subjects with which he struggles. After his grades were improved, we discussed some of our dreams and aspirations. Drew expressed to me his love for the game of basketball. However, his school's basketball team did not have enough money for a great coach. Together, we found him a club basketball team. Today, Drew is being sought out for an academic scholarship with a spot on college basketball teams. Throughout my district, we have seen amazing relationships form, like that of mine and Drew's, that have fostered one of the key purposes of our school system, a quality education and a promising future.
I myself have found how much easier it is to speak with a peer rather than an adult, simply because I'm able to relate to this person. Offering incentives such as community service hours to these peer mentors will encourage higher achieving students to it'll encourage higher achieving students to help their lower achieving classmates. The monitoring program will help instill a sense of social responsibility for student mentors and offer students who are struggling academically and some who need more encouragement. I've seen firsthand how after-school programs have worked based on the Big Brother program. It has helped my younger brothers improve their grades and academic standing. Before my younger brothers' mentorships, they struggled with basic reading skills. But after they had this mentoring, they had gone from a grade point average of reading from a 5th grader to that of an 8th grader in just a short span of months. I know they would agree with me personally when I say that they owe a large part of their success to this program. As Lauren and I have both shared, we have found that peer mentoring to be extremely helpful and promotes success among all students.
In addition to peer mentoring, we would like to support the implementation of the California Longitudinal Pupil Achievement Data System, otherwise known as CalPADS. CalPADS will help to ensure that students do not simply fall between the cracks, virtually unnoticed. Currently, many students in California simply stop attending high school and are never officially recorded as a dropout. It is truly problematic that there is no active system in place that keeps track of each individual student. CalPADS was developed to alleviate this problem, and we do feel that it will do just that if implemented as currently written.
Not only will CalPADS generate more accurate data on dropout rates in high school, but it will also help the district and state better monitor a student's progress during their entire educational career. We commend the fact that this system is designed to maintain students' records from K through 12. We also support the comprehensive nature of CalPADS, which will include the records of student demographics, program participation, grade level, enrollment, course enrollment and completion, discipline, and statewide assessment. The fact that this is done using a non-personally identifiable number is further commendable, as this works to ensure that the student will not be unfairly discriminated against due to past poor performance.
So I go to a school where I'm supremely lucky to have teachers that really care about me, but in the midst of a system that is stressed financially and otherwise, I see students fall through the cracks daily. Peer mentoring is a more effective system of monitoring student progress and will ultimately help to alleviate this problem.
Many of my peers have finished high school completely unaware of the opportunities available to them. Some people go directly into the Army not because they want to serve their country, but simply because no other opportunity is presented to them. With peer mentoring, students have a resource that gives them a sense of direction, as we've seen in our past presentations as well. For me to see more peers receive higher education or pursuing vocational studies would be great. As such, I think that peer mentor programs should play much larger roles in our schools than just as academic guidance.
So in conclusion, we believe that all stakeholders are invested into youth because we are tomorrow's future. We want to ensure that all children attending school in California have the opportunity to reach their full potential. Accordingly, we must ensure that we institute programs that help prevent those who struggle academically from falling through the cracks of the education system. And the implementation and development of CalPads, along with the support of peer mentoring programs, can really help to close many of those gaps. We, as students, appreciate all that the Senate Committee on Education has done to help close the achievement gap that currently grips our state, and we hope that you join us in our support for these programs.
Thank you. Tremendous presentation. Questions, comments? Senator Price?
No, just another great presentation. I'm really impressed with the level of research that's gone into your presentations and the feeling, the commitment with which you are delivering your comments. It's very effective, very believable, and your ideas certainly will be taken into consideration. Thank you.
Any others? Let me just ask one question. You're talking quite a bit about peer mentorship. We absolutely agree with you on this. All of you have stepped forward. You've done the research. I know you've been working on this for some time now. I heard, quite late into the day yesterday, getting your presentations ready. I'm sure that even as you present the substantive information to us, I'd like to hear from some of you as far as how you got into this program, the mentorship that occurred, what you're learning, if this is reinforced by participating with the California Association of Student Councils, how that has affected your thinking about your own academic progress. And how have you mentored each other? It's a great diversity from Southern California to Northern California, very diverse. It's interesting to see how you have self-selected, you've arranged yourself, your presentations have been very organized, and I'm sure that took a lot of peer mentoring amongst yourself. So perhaps you could talk just a little bit about how this experience has shed light on why you think peer mentoring is so important. Any of you?
Okay. In the instance of CASC, this is my first conference, by the way. It's been really interesting because I didn't know anyone I was working with. We came together to talk about an issue that is really deep and concerns a lot of different things and a lot of different people and is actually kind of controversial. And we had to, as a group, decide that, look, we're going to talk about this in a way that's respectful, and we're going to communicate in a way to where we can all come to a consensus about what we really want to advocate for the best needs of all students. It's really interesting for me personally because I'm in a district where you don't see a lot of from the ground level up students just automatically saying, I want to do this. I was really lucky to have been kind of inducted into a program that really does a lot around social justice in my community, which then led me to the All City Council group, which is how I'm on the school board. From there, my coordinator sent me here, which I'm really proud about now because I've been able to work with a lot of these great young people from all around the state, and they brought all of their experiences and their knowledge and all of their emotions and feelings about what really needs to happen together so that we could say, hey, look, this is how we all feel, and we coalesced it into this presentation, and that was how it happened.
Good.
I've been with CASC for a little bit now, and I know you guys are very familiar, but at CASC we like to say that we're a nonprofit, student-led organization that's geared towards cultivating the leaders of tomorrow. And you hear that so often, but at CASC we have students teaching students, and that concept is so unfamiliar to the rest of the world even. But you just see the results. And, our group, some of us are freshmen, and you heard a middle schooler, and we have seniors, yet our counselor who is facilitating our group was a sophomore. So you can see that it's not this age gap that is kind of defining how we learn things, it's just the way in which we're approached about them. And so CASC is just so effective in getting that message across to us that, age, or in this achievement gap that we have, race, economic background, those things don't matter. We've all come here from all different backgrounds and leveled in a way where we want to approach change so differently than anywhere else in the country.
Anybody else? All right.
I have a quick question.
Sure, Senator Huff.
First of all, this is another sort of mid-meeting, discussion. I understand we were outing ourselves in student leadership. I was junior class president, just by way of perspective, and I missed the meeting. Some of you may have been there. But no, that was a good experience, and it did get me involved at a level that, you tend to want to try to make a difference after you've been there somewhere. Janie, I have a question for you. So you're at Troy High School in Fullerton. And do you live within the school boundaries, or did your parents get you?
I actually live in your district in Walnut.
Okay, see?
We were talking about that right now.
I lit up a little bit. Hey, Troy, I know Troy, because we have a lot of students that want to get in there. So was that something your parents wanted to get you into, or is that something you wanted to go to because of the programs they had, or both?
It's something that I was actually interested in going to myself, which is kind of ironic because I'm really into English and history, and I'm going to a math and science-dominated school. And peer mentoring actually helped me there as well, because I'm not strong in sciences, so I had a peer mentor teaching me in biology during my freshman year, and I was really struggling adjusting to Troy, as you know. And that helped me get involved in my own peer mentoring program to help people in with English and social studies, and it's really a give and take. And going to a peer was much easier for me, because in a classroom where you have one teacher versus 40 students, you can't comfortably ask every single question you want to, but when you have this one-on-one relationship with a peer, you feel much comfortable in asking whatever you need to ask and just contacting them whenever, because teachers have over 180 students, and to get a hold of them for whatever need is really difficult. So I really advocate this peer-to-peer training because I've seen it affect me, and it's inspired me to give back in what I'm strong in as well.
Very good. Which community are you from?
I'm in Walnut.
Oh, very good.
That is your district.
Right. Absolutely. Well, welcome, all of you.
And I think, too, it's really fascinating. I've gone, as other members of the Education Committee, we have taken a look at different, even ways in which we do education in a classroom. I've been particularly struck, and this one happens to be a public charter school, the High Tech Highs. I happened to visit the one in Chula Vista, and it was fascinating to see the blocks of students working with each other, the interactive. Yes, the teacher's in the classroom as the educational leader, but the students are their educational leaders. A lot of hands-on work, not just reading the book about the theory, but the practice, hands-on, very much partnership academies and how you deliver education to yourself. And when you speak about peer mentorship, to a large extent, it really is student leading students and working with each other, just seeing the product of your work, a collaboration. As you indicated, you've all been brought together, sort of thrown into the room suddenly, and yet each year, not only this year, but each year, the students come forth with really very polished presentations, and these materials that you provided to us, very much, very, very impressive. So thank you very much. We are strong advocates of peer mentorship, and we thank you very much for your presentation today. Any other closing comments from you? All right, a round of applause for the peer mentorship program. Thank you. James and Diana, you're back. Welcome again.
Thank you. So now that you've heard some of the thoughts of the delegation, James and I actually have one last proposal that we'd like to present on behalf of the California Association of Student Councils, and it's for CAS 2020, which is a project that we as an organization have been working on for the past 2 years. So I'll just give a brief overview of the project, and James will speak more about the proposal itself. So for over 10 years, students have been coming from across the state to present here their opinions on the committee's education policies. And for over 60 years, the organization has been working to improve education and student leadership by involving students in the decision-making process, by creating relationships between students, educators, and policymakers such as yourselves, and just by providing schools with the resources that they need to succeed. And I believe that every change that has been made has helped both students and educators to create a more valuable educational experience. But CAS 2020 as a proposal is slightly different. Rather than looking at each individual step towards improving education as merely a means, CAS 2020 is going to focus on a vision, the vision for the ideal school system in 10 years from now, 2020. And CAS 2020 is kind of our way of measuring all of the progress that has been made so far and keeping us focused on all of the progress that still has to be made. So for this project, we've identified 4 major key issues and goals as benchmarks to assess this vision. And we consider these areas of focus to be, first, effective student councils in all schools. Secondly, the student evaluation of teachers project. Third, having student board members on all district school boards. And fourth, the understanding of student rights and responsibilities by all stakeholders, including students, educators, administration. And our hope is that these 4 benchmarks will be established at all schools throughout the state of California. And at the same time, we do understand that this isn't at all an easy task. So we, as an organization, are working with students on the grassroots level to make change from the ground up. But we also need help from you to create beneficial policies on the state level to help us further these goals. And so James is now going to present some of the recommended actions that we request of the committee in support of this project.
Under the first section, which is student councils, having effective student councils or associated student bodies, we'd like to create standards for leadership curriculum or ASB curriculum. And these standards would include basic leadership skills such as presentation skills, meeting skills, and things that CASC has been an advocate for to create more effective groups of students. For the student evaluation or feedback on teachers, we would like to permit that school districts establish a committee of teachers and students for the purpose of providing student feedback, that this feedback would be all confidential, and that the teacher would be the only recipient of their personal data. Department heads would get average department data, and that the principal or administration would get that average department data for all departments, giving a gauge on the improvement over years of student feedback to see how departments are performing and where different places can be looked at for improvement. Also, we would like to align the student evaluation of teachers such that the program can be used to earn points toward Race to the Top funding. There is a section in Race to the Top where there's a possibility of using student feedback as a method of gauging teacher ability and making sure that that can be used in that section. Under student members on every district school board, last legislative season we had a bill called AB 1007, which mandated a 30-day response to a petition for placing a student member onto a board, district board. And this bill itself was actually vetoed by the governor. It passed through the legislature, and it was specifically targeting the case of in the LA Unified School District, which we actually presented to you at last SABLE, that they had not been responding to a petition. And the current Ed Code forces a positive response to this petition, but there is no time limit on the response. So by enacting this legislation, this would take the power out of the hands of the administration and into the hands of the students, and allows the students to take responsibility for their own education and their own representation. And it supports their right to petition. Under education on updates of student rights, the adoption or creation of a student bill of rights simply constructed from Ed Code, so saying the literal rights and responsibilities of the student when they walk onto the campus, and the incorporation of these student rights into civics classes, such as government classes. And the final thing that we're asking for is the endorsement of CAS 2020 proposals as a priority goal for all schools from the Senate Ed Committee.
Okay, let me thank you very much for these very thoughtful perspectives, 4 very strong priorities. We will take this proposal back to all members of the Education Committee. As I indicated earlier on your point number 2, the student evaluation, the feedback of teachers, as you know, I authored that bill last year, and it moved out of our Education Committee, but it died a quick death once it left Education Committee. But let's see what we can do to resuscitate, bring back, especially in light of Race to the Top. I was a teacher. I taught at a university in Los Angeles, and every quarter, every 10 weeks, students didn't just give me feedback, they evaluated me. And that went into my retention, promotion, ultimately tenure. And so I strongly value feedback. you're the customers, and it's important for us to understand, to learn what we do good and where we need improvement. So I strongly believe in a student voice perspective, feedback, evaluation, a part of the process. So let's keep that avenue open and let's see what we can do. On the student member on every district school board, absolutely. To me, that's just a no-brainer, and we've got to go back. We've got to work on the governor still, but let's go back. Let's take a look at it. Student rights, effective student councils. So I will make a commitment as chair of the committee to follow up after this. We will go back and see where we can go. If we can resuscitate perhaps the feedback bill in terms of raise to the top, take a look at the veto message and where maybe we might be able to tweak that. Do you recall who authored that bill? Was that Chair Brownlee from Education?
I think that was Assemblyperson Carter.
Okay, so we can follow up with her too and see this, and we'll put together your proposals, send them out, and get feedback from all members of the committee. Vice Chair Huff, any comments on the student proposals?
I agree with many of them. Some of them are problematic, but on the feedback, I just like to say, remember one of the things in my freshman in college class on speech was you haven't really communicated unless you send the message out, and the message has to come back to you so you know whether it was received properly. So I really do believe it's called a test. That's a little different kind of feedback. Although a test does provide feedback, you're absolutely right. But I think that is a great component because it's a teacher is so integral to the learning process, and if there's ways that they're maybe even unaware of that they're negatively impacting some students, they're not going to be able to catch them all, but to the degree that they can, I think that's an excellent concept.
Excellent. Senator Liu?
I just wanted to commend all of you and your sponsors and your advisors for the work that these young people have done. It's very impressive, and we look forward every year to these presentations. And in particular, these are not just presentations, things that we can take back and really work on and ensure that some of these issues can get resolved. So we're listening to you very carefully. Thank you very much for joining us.
And finally, let me once again commend all of you, and for the student advisors, once again, the sponsors. This is always the highlight of the Senate Education Committee, and then from here it sort of goes downhill. So we appreciate you coming back and giving us the real-world perspective, from the trenches, the belly of the beast. You are the ones, the leaders of tomorrow. And when you take a look at us sitting here, as Senator Huff said, once upon a time, a long time ago, we were in your shoes. And very active, and it's important for us to never forget, where we come from the ranks of students on schools, elementary, middle, high schools. So we thank you for the eloquence, the hard work that you've given. We'll go back, we'll work with you on this, and let us thank you for each year coming back to advocate, not just for a generation of students who are coping, but we really look forward and we understand your voices as a generation of students who wish to soar and excel and do all that we know that you can do. So thank you so very much for your presentations and your voices today. And members, let's end this with a very enthusiastic round of applause for the leaders of tomorrow. Thank you very much. Okay, this informational hearing of Senate Education Committee is now over.